We look ahead to the Cup quarter-finals. Up first, it'll be Fiji against Wales in a repeat of their Gold Coast encounter. Australia take on Scotland, South Africa against Argentina, and the big one, New Zealand against England, as it was on the Gold Coast for the third placing in the rankings. So plenty to look forward to on finals day here in Dubai 2014. And we would do well to remind ourselves of the World Series table. The top four at the end of this season automatically qualify for the Olympic Games in Rio of 2016. So in pole position at the moment, Fiji out on top with 22, courtesy of that win, that marvellous win on the Gold Coast. Can they repeat that performance here in Dubai and retain their Dubai crown? Samoa, well, they'll be contesting the bowl, the lowly bowl competition. England and South Africa there, New Zealand, Argentina, Australia, Wales also in touch. First of the Cup quarterfinals then feature Fiji against Wales. Wales were given a lifeline by Portugal, who defeated Canada yesterday, and Wales through on points difference. It's a tough call for the Welsh. They last met on the Gold Coast in October, a game Fiji won by 31-10 and by 5 tries to 2. 5 different players scored for Fiji that day. So here are the teams. Fiji led by top point scorer this season, Osea Kolinisau, and strike runners in Tuai and Rawatha. The big men, Domalailai, Kunatani and Verimalua, all three in the try scorer, amongst the try scorers here in Dubai. Wales led by the experienced Jeremy Groves. He's back in the ranks. His second spell with the Wales 7 squad. Lee Williams is their most experienced player. Both the Harrises, no relations. Jason and Will have 2 tries apiece coming into this quarter final. And looking ahead to the Cup quarter final, this one in particular with me is former Watsonians, Scotland and British Lions centre Scott Hastings. Good morning, Scott. And it promises to be quite a Cup quarter final between Fiji and Wales. It'll be interesting what tactics Wales adopt here.
Yeah, very much so. And also, good morning viewers, or wherever you are, good evening, wherever you are around the world, taking in our broadcast of this magnificent tie. And you're right, it's about how Wales turn out on day 2, and actually the potential to play, is undoubtedly good. And then, their little playmaker Lee Williams, he's a wonderful player, and we saw his influence within the team over that win over Portugal yesterday. But undoubtedly, with Fiji having come into this tournament, and of course following their win last year, can they do back-to-back titles? But once they are on fire, this Fijian team can cut anybody apart.
Yeah, it's early here in Dubai, 11 o'clock in the morning, early by Fijian standards. And Fiji not always at their best first time out in the morning, and Ben Ryan acknowledges that fact. And coaches are always looking for perfection, says Ben Ryan. That was not perfection yesterday. That's how he reflects on the Fijian 3 victories yesterday against France, Brazil and Argentina. But cutting loose here is Jeremiah Jerry Tuai. Turns Stefan Jones inside and out. It's a wonderful try. An opening score for Fiji from inside his own 22. Jerry Tuai. Fantastic score.
Well, often you talk about the sharpness of these Fijians, but it's also the sharpness in the mind. Look at this. This is from the start. Brilliantly tapped back there by Kunatani, but the tap was straight on, and Lee Williams, well, I gave him the big build-up. He missed the tackle. The 2-and-1 was an option, but look at the mazy running of Jerry Tuai. Fabulous play there from Fiji.
Yeah, he came in as a replacement for Emosi Mulevoro for the Gold Coast tournament and made the dream team with Osea Kolinisau and Semi Kunatani. Is lit up the skies here above the Sevens, the home of Dubai Rugby, and an opening score. And what did I say? That Fiji are not at their best first thing in the morning. This guy went to bed early last night.
Well, Fiji, there was such decisiveness in that play. Absolutely attacked Wales from the off.
Wales finding it difficult to claim the restart here, and that has been a feature of their play on the opening day. Not the most successful team at kickoffs and restarts.
Yeah, well, as you look at this picture, the sun is high up on the left there, so a sensible kick from Fiji, kicking into the eyes of the stand, so just above on the left. So it was a good kickoff.
So this is Lee Williams preparing to feed the ball into the scrum. The newcomer Lloyd Evans at hooker. On the far side is Jevon Groves. This side it's Jason Harris. Up against Domalile, Kunatani, Verimalua. Into midfield, that's Will Harris. Neat, lovely step from the man now playing for the Ealing Trailfinders. Well, he had Jason Harris on his left shoulder. Ben Krause is the referee for this match from South Africa with a breakthrough. It was just a Verimalua, Semi Kunatani for the corner. A second try for Fiji.
Well, there's a fantastic step in the middle when Wales were attacking first and foremost, but look at this little pop pass coming up now. Look at that, the sleight of hand. And once Fiji get into this mood, they are almost unstoppable.
And when you consider the problems facing Ben Ryan, of course, any number of Fijian players have moved offshore and seeking lucrative contracts, and Ben Ryan, well, he has a wealth of talent on the islands, of course. And here is one of them, Semi Kunatani, and Fiji lead Wales by 12-0 early on here.
Well, we'll all remember on day 2 last year when a Fijian team put 44 past New Zealand. It was quite unbelievable.
Breathtaking stuff from Fiji, that record score against New Zealand. But this is a totally different team. Again, Wales are penalised at the breakdown and wasting no time whatsoever. It's the captain, Osea Kolinisau. Out on the left, it's Domalile again into the Welsh 22. And once more, it's a penalty advantage to Fiji. Wales have to be careful. Fiji could run away with this one. Savannah Rawatha couldn't quite get the ball away to Verimalua. But Ben Krause will call them back for the penalty advantage, which did not accrue to the Islanders.
Well, Ben Krause, he allowed that advantage to go on for an awful long time. Surely that Fiji had the advantage. It was a poor pass on the outside. However, the decision's been made.
Katonimbao on to Rawatha. Oh, neat little offload there to Tuai, dancing inside the challenge of Jason Harris, and Fiji are running away with this one. 3 tries in as many minutes for the Fijians.
Well, this guy, Jerry Tuai, he scored against France, he scored against Argentina, his second against Wales, and it's just individual brilliance. Notice on his first step, the ball held in 2 hands. Magic, magic, magic from this wonderful little scrum half, Jerry Tuai.
So the defending champions, 19-0 to the good. And Wales yesterday, they played smart rugby against South Africa, knowing that they needed to contain the Blitzbokker, but they're unable to hold the Fijians here. What a marvellous try that was for Rawatha. Savaneka Rawatha ghosting through the Welsh defence like a gentle breeze through the palm trees of his native land.
One hand Rawatha, look at this. It's the way he steps with the ball and shows and goes, but the last 3 tries have all come from Wales' mistakes. And the Fijians have capitalised on every error. And when they capitalise, they punish you. Rawatha for the dive.
Well, that try will be one abiding memory of Dubai in 2014. Lovely slow-mo action there of the Rawatha's try.
Yeah, let's hear from you folks. If you're into your social media, why don't you drop us a tweet at World Rugby Sevens. That's 7S.
Well, at last perhaps a chance for Wales to get out of their own half, where they've been contained for the greater part of the opening 7 minutes. Just some 15 seconds remain. Lee Williams, can he inspire Wales here? Jason Harris tackled, pulled down just inside the 10-metre line. And Fiji have it, and again Wales give away the penalty as the siren goes for half-time. Still time for one more score perhaps. Out on the left, it's up inside Domalili. Out the back to Semi Kunatani. Offloading to Tuai, but they'll have to come back. But Fiji are on song, and they still can afford a smile even when they make a mistake. 24-0. It's Fiji at their very best in the opening 7 minutes.
Thank you. Feedback? Good. Right at 76.3. Front, planet, breakdowns.
Targeting that ball, right? We got to get in early. We got to affect that second man. Yeah, everybody comfortable? Right? That's the biggest thing. We can get on the run here, boys. Yeah, we made the breaks, and we can tighten up that area. We can get on the run here. We put 2 scores together, then the doubt comes in. Then the doubt comes in, and we grow. All right? We grow. We've got to have that belief, right? We've got to have that belief. I need honesty as well coming from you, right? Messages to that page, huge, boys, okay? So we can add energy here. Prices on for Lloyd in this half-time, okay? We add energy all the time, and they can come on early.
Then I'll make changes. One change, Salami and a wing for Save. Thank you, sir. Okay.
Men of deep religious conviction, the Fijians, and you will see the references to biblical quotations on their armbands, on their wristbands, and two messages as well to their families back home. Very popular on the circuit as ever. Fiji, defending champions, then lead Wales by 24-0. The first mistake of the second half. And Fiji laid the Dubai ghost to rest 12 months ago. They'd never ever won the Dubai Sevens tournament in 15 years of trying, but they did it in style 12 months ago when they defeated South Africa in the final by 29-17. And as has already been alluded to, they defeated mighty New Zealand by 44-0 in the semis. And they're looking to rack up a huge scoreline here again as Wales look to force the passes at the top of the second half.
Red side of the flag.
Wales have given away possession no less than 6 times.
Level. Yeah, that's the middle.
We'll see Kalina Sa has led this team so well, played magnificently out on the Gold Coast and leading his team, leading point scorer here in Dubai as well. So what will Fiji do off this attacking line out?
Oh, that's reckless. Pulling down in the line out, Domalili, and Nasoni Rocco is now on for Fiji. All held in one hand. A very difficult man to stop is Osea Kolinisau, who scored 3 tries in the comeback, that marvellous comeback for Fiji against Wales in the Hong Kong final of 2013. It's advantage Fiji yet again, and surely Ben Krause will go to his pocket this time. Wales getting nothing at all from the referee. Jevon Groves, the captain, protesting his innocence, but to no avail. Quickly taken, quickly over in the corner. Apisalome Wangatambo. 5 tries then now for Fiji.
Well, Osea Kolinisau was so quick here. He feinted to go right, then he went left, delivered the pass with accuracy, and of course the power play just is in Fiji's favour.
Well, that's the 4th try for Fiji off a Wales penalty. And Gareth Williams will not be a happy man, the Wales coach. That's a great strike, a wonderful strike. Taking Fiji out over 30 points, 31-0.
Where did that little bit of wind come from? That was just feinting to the right, came in, split the uprights in half.
Well, have a look at the breeze blowing through the flags on the top of the grandstand on the far side. And there's a gale blowing in Wales's direction in this first Cup quarter-final. Harris looking to inject some pace into the attack. Now then, can he break clear? The support there from Tom Williams, but look at the Fijians looking to counter, looking to win the ball at the turnover. Williams has to reach up for that one. Luke Morgan has to reach forward for his pass. Morgan, can he get away? Wangatambo it was who brings him down. And Fijians, the expert in the tackle area as well. 83% success in the tackle area. And a rare penalty for Wales. Looking to break their duck here. Williams turns one way, then the other. This promising scrum half from the Cardiff Blues team. It's there for Price. Wales down to 6 men. Lovely pass out from Jason Harris to Luke Morgan, and over he goes. Wales break their duck midway through the second half.
Yeah, and it's Luke Morgan who's given them such a thrust into this 22-metre line of Fiji, but Wangatambo, he got caught in here, he got sucked in, and the overhead pass means that Wales have broken their duck.
Just looking at a despondent Wales captain down beneath me here, Jevon Groves. Clearly incensed at that yellow card decision. So Wales back to a complement, full complement of 7. As Sean Bennett is the replacement for Captain Groves.
Knocked on and offside.
Interesting just watching Fiji with all their flair. They do put you under pressure so much in the press defence that they employ.
Morgan scored his try on the left, appearing on the right here as Rocco goes in with a challenge. Sean Bennett into midfield. Craig Price has a gap there. Lovely pass once more out wide to Jason Harris again. Can he get the ball down? May well have done. Might need consultation here with the assistant referee.
The whole time? No, infield, sorry. It's infield the whole time. Did you get a positive grounding? Yes. So I made a water try? Yes. Thank you.
So Wales mounting a comeback here. A second try. But Fiji, you'd think, would have done enough with a 31-point advantage at one stage.
Well, these 2 tries from Wales have come from the fact that they've actually kept hold of possession and they've attacked Fiji, certainly on that wide left-out channel.
Yeah, it's often a case of what might have been. So that second try brings an air of respectability to the score. But again, possession given away, and you can ill afford to do that against the mighty flying Fijians. Nasila Sala to Nasoni Rocco, cuts back inside. Remember him of the flying red boots when he was a regular member of the Fijian squad a few years ago. Veremalua on to Nasila Sila to Ngoro. A little kick through, lost forward. Just a minute remaining then. And what appeared to be a well-oiled machine in that first half. We see some cracks in their armour here.
Yeah, but Ben Ryan will play on that. He'll take his team away, they'll analyse as they head into the semi-final. And it'll be interesting to see how they then respond, because they've come out the block strongly, and of course they've got real potential in their ranks.
Certainly have. The clock winds down, just over half a minute remaining. This is Rodri Davis. He's away. He's got pace, but so have the Fijians. But what a marvellous try this is for the young man from West Wales, Rodri Davis. And they'll be jumping up and down in a little club I know in West Wales very well. That's Crymych RFC, of which Gareth Williams is incidentally a coach. I'm just wondering, we haven't seen too much of Rodri Davis, but boy, I like what I see.
Oh, what a peach of the try. This is the red flyer is in for Wales, but he backed himself, and that's what I liked about it. He attacked the Fijians and goes in from what, 60 metres, 70 metres?
Well, he'll remember that try. That's for sure, the day he scored against Fiji in Dubai. Well, Wales, they mounted a comeback in the second half, but Fiji had done enough in capitalising on Welsh errors in the opening 7 minutes. Fiji march on to the Cup semi-final with a final scoreline which reads Fiji 31, Wales 17.
Terrific win by Fiji. So their defence of the Dubai title won last year is on track. 31-17. Ravovo, the leading tackler for Fiji. Harris for Wales along with Jones. Plenty of carries for Kunutani. And you can see that the line breaks master was Jerry Tuwai with 2. Cup quarterfinals. 1 down, 3 to go. Australia versus Scotland is coming up. South Africa versus Argentina. And New Zealand will play England, a repeat of their quarterfinal matchup at the Gold Coast back in October. But it is Fiji leading the series table after their victory on the Gold Coast. 22 points they picked up. Samoa on 19, England 17, and South Africa on 15. But that's going to change somewhat at the end of the day. Day 2 at Dubai, because we can now have a look at the points available. The Cup winners will pick up 22, runners-up 19, third place 17, and fourth place 15. For the plate winner, 13, the bowl winner 8, the shield winner 3. So the crowd building up in the sunshine at Dubai. About 20 past 11 in the morning local time. So it's Australia versus Scotland in the Cup quarter-final. And head-to-head, Australia leading 27-6 in the series, which started in 1999. They've had 2 draws as well. They've been pretty competitive over the last 12 months or so. Starting 7 for Australia. The captain is Ed Jenkins, the leading try scorer in Dubai with 4. Number 7, Cameron Clark, has 3 tries. And for Scotland, number 5, Colin Gregor, is the most experienced in the lineup, and he has a couple of tries to his credit at this tournament as well. I'll be looking for him to guide them around the paddock. And Scott White, the 29-year-old, is the captain. HSBC Sevens World Series and the Dubai event sponsored by Emirates Airline. Ed Jenkins on the left, and Scott White on the right. Here's the welcome for the Cup quarter-finalists, Australia and Scotland. Australia haven't made the semi-finals in Dubai since 2002. These two sides first met in Dubai in 2010. Australia winning 2 of them, Scotland 1. And Australia so far beat Kenya, the United States and England on day 1 to top the pool. Scotland pretty inconsistent on day 1. They beat Samoa in a bit of an upset, 21-14 first up, then were hammered by New Zealand 43-0. Then they came back and turned on a display to thrash the Japanese 47-0. So Scotland won in Dubai last year, 21 points to 17. Federico Anselmi from Argentina is the referee. Since the Gold Coast 2013, Australia have won 4 games against Scotland. The Scots have won 2. Greg Clark with you alongside me from Scotland. Scott Hastings. He's got boxing gloves on.
Not at all. Rivals on the pitch, but in the commentary box, impartiality.
So Stannard goes long with his restart, and it goes down to Lee Jones for Scotland. Returns the ball back to the 22. Eddie flinging it, and well, Myers raced up and missed a man, and here's a great opportunity for Scotland. Oh, he should have offloaded, and Con Foley is now chasing Robertson. He won't get to him. Robertson, for a moment it looked like he butchered the try because he had an unmarked man, but that is a terrific start by Scotland. Length of the field try after Australia rushed up on defence and the man didn't take his opponent. We're just waiting though. It is a try. Try to Scotland.
Well, what a fantastic start Mark Robertson has given this young team. Robertson almost from the try line, almost the tackle. This was when the pass should have been made. I didn't think he would get there, but look at this. He held off the attention of Con Foley, and Robertson raced his way to the try line.
Conversion not successful, but the perfect start for Scotland, 5-0. And they're a team that relies on confidence, Scotland. They have the average age of 26. Much more mature in age than the Australians, but they still lack a little bit of consistency. And the same can be said for the Australians. So let's see if they can hit back. Clark out to Stannard in midfield, across now to Palmerfo. It's been a real handful for opponents, but this time they go low and shut him down. Penalty against Scotland.
Well, we saw in the opening quarter Jerry Tuwai giving the Fijians a lead. Mark Robertson has done this for Scotland, but possession gain now for Australia. Stannard, he'll just play a little bit of a territorial game here, makes a good contact with the ball. Has he found touch? He certainly has found a great touch.
Really giving them great field position now if they can win the line out, the Australians. Stannard, now 31 years of age, played some Super Rugby, had a stint in Japan as well. It's over the top. It's a poor throw. So a wasted opportunity, but a big tackle. And now Scotland. The inside ball is knocked on, and so Australia with an opportunity again. And Stannard goes out to Clark. It's 2-on-2, and Clark takes the tackle and loses the ball in contact. And it's play on. Trying to catch them napping down the short side now. The penalty will go against Australia because they were offside. So good work by Scotland.
Yeah, Scotland forcing the error on the Aussies. Just the pace slowing down. James Eddy looks on. The Glasgow Warrior player made such an impact for Scotland when he returned to the squad last year in Hong Kong. Great powerful flanker.
The fine touch, line out around about halfway. Hectic start, and Scotland just slowing things down. Having a breather. So it's going to be Colin Gregor throwing into the line out. Going towards the back, and there's an overthrow, and so Holland gets it out now to Clark, who gives it to Palmer-Foe out on the right. Got away from one, Foe. Turning it back on the inside. No, he takes the tackle. Now it's Myers and Foley. Stannard gives it now to Jenkins, and Ed Jenkins comes back and scores for Australia. His 5th try for the tournament. Just a matter of numbers.
Great accuracy from the Australians with their passing. Stannard finds his man Jenkins, who was on the slide, and Robertson, well, it was Scott Riddle inside him, who just couldn't make up the ground, and Robertson just had to hold his line on the defensive chores, but that allowed the width to be created for Jenkins to go in at the corner.
Stannard's attempt is just out to the left, so it is 5-all in the Cup quarter-final. These two teams have been very competitive against each other in the last 12 months or so. Winner will play Fiji in the semi-finals. The loser moves into the plate competition to play Wales. So Stannard, good take by White. The counter ruck pretty good, but the ball goes out now to Eddie. Clark hangs onto one leg, and they try and hold him up. Penalty against Australia. And now Scotland trying to get it out wide, and they do so. Johnston, the ball on the inside, left behind. Knock on though, lost by Australia. So we'll have a scrum. Sam Myers just unable to control it. Scotland look like they're pretty much on their A game, unlike the match against New Zealand yesterday, when they lost 43 points to nil.
Well, when I spoke to the players after that New Zealand performance, 43 points they conceded. They realised they froze out there. Their headspace wasn't right. They switched it on yesterday against Japan, won 47 points to nil. And they really fancied having a go at this Australian team, who've played very well themselves against England yesterday.
So a good scrum, and White gets it out to midfield. And Johnson is taken by Clark a metre or so from halfway. Down the short side they go. Good tackle from Holland, and he goes in looking for the ball. It's a penalty. He was entitled to have a crack at the ball, Lewis Holland, because he was the tackler.
Yeah, Greg, we've seen this quite a bit, haven't we, where players get isolated on the ball. They go for the squeeze ball, where they place the ball between the legs, and they kind of lie there. They don't roll away from the action, and that allows for the defending team to try and effect a turnover, but also it slows up that ball, and of course they then win a penalty.
Line out is much better that time from Australia. And now it's Lewis Holland giving it to Clark, who fires it straight out to Palmer-Foe, the big man on the right wing, and he gets on the outside, and Palmer-Foe will score a very timely try for the Australians right on the stroke of half-time. Brilliant work by the big man on the right flank, Palmer-Foe.
Well, Foe's on fire, isn't he? It was Jones who gave him so much on the outside, and too much on the outside. Foe did work well though. Round he went. It was route one before that. He ran through the tackle of Jones earlier on, but on this occasion he ran wide and scores a belter for the Aussies.
And here's the conversion attempt. It's not successful. So at half-time, it is Australia coming back from 5-0 down, leading Scotland by 12 points to 5. In fact, 10 points to 5.
Keep recycling the ball. Right, recycle the ball. Don't go for anything 50-50. Have the confidence, play another phase with the flow. In D, you've got to keep your structure. Don't shoot up, that's the only way they came down. We shot up and we missed the tackle. Have the confidence in your tackle, keep your feet going, shoulders in. So D, structure. When they get to the outside, what are they going to do?
Play somewhere else hard and fast. That's what we've just got to do. We've got to do that. And that means getting into positions early so that we're options, so that we get the ball away and then we move it again. And that's where we're then stressing them.
Listen, just one point for me before Shisha will come in. Defensively, we must get forward. Okay, when we're numbered off, get forward and close the space together. Shish.
That tackler, okay, tackle there, that guy in there, you've got to bail him out of there, okay, it has to be in the back, more back, make him hurt, okay, get him out of there, come on!
Callum McRae, the coach of Scotland, wanting a better effort on defence, wants to push forward and shut down the space of the Australians. Wow, great second half coming up in this, the second of the Cup quarter-finals. Remember, if you'd like to pass on a comment, get on the Twitter sphere at World Rugby 7s. It's at World Rugby 7S. We'd love to hear from you. What are you thinking of it so far? Second half underway. And a mistake there. And Clark gives it straight away to Lewis Holland, who is cutting back and giving it to Clark, who throws the dummy and he's straight through over the 22. Poor miss from Scotland, and Cameron Clark gets his 4th try for the tournament.
Well, I was going to say right on the half-time whistle from the referee, the next try is absolutely crucial. Scott White was up there, Scott Riddle, spilt ball. Clark started. He ran the angle and the support from Holland, threw the little dummy here, great skill, and the Dream Team Player of the Year, one of the Dream Team Player of the Years last year. Dots down for Australia. The conversion is good from the try scorer, and that pushes Australia out to a 17-5 lead.
So 17 points to 5. Still plenty of time for Scotland to hit back though. Stannard goes short this time for Holland, and he does well. So more possession coming up for Australia. The penalty will now go their way.
Well, of course, with that score for the Australians, it means that Scotland are going to come back into this game and score twice. And Australia now with the territory through Stannard.
The real pressure here for Scotland.
And 2. 4 and 2.
It's waiting for the ball to be retrieved. And Scotland make a couple of changes. So 9 is out there. Niall Godsmark is one of the changes. They go to the front. And Foley goes to ground. Jenkins. Stannard. Holland gives it to Clark, and he fires it over to Palmer-Foe. That's just the standard play with the big man out on the right, taking some stopping, and he links up now with Jenkins. A chance here. Myers needs to draw. He'll dummy and he'll go himself and score. Didn't need the support on that occasion. Sam Myers runs in a very important try, and that is his first for Dubai 2014.
Well, the damage was done by Palmer-Foe. It was just a straightening of the line. Colin Gregor couldn't make up that defensive squeeze on the outside. And Scotland, well, it's almost tie over for them. But Palmer-Foe has been the thorn in the flesh for the Scottish team.
Bit of breathing space now. 22 points to 5. And Sam Myers, plenty of tackles and ball carries, got into the starting 7 after Tom Cusack had a slight knock yesterday, and now Myers is off and Tom Cusack is on the field in jersey 2. So 4 minutes remaining. not a long time when you say it quickly, but in a game of sevens, it's plenty of time. If Scotland can just get some possession and get back into the contest. That one's out on the fall, and if there has been a problem with the Australians this weekend, it has been their restarts. Too many errors. And Gavin Lowe takes it. Linking up with White, and the double round with Lowe showing and going, and the inside ball, and Stannard makes the tackle on Robertson, and they try and hold him up. It is a maul. He needs to go to ground quickly. He's not going to do it, and so Australia earn the put-in.
Yeah, great defensive effort there from Australia. Greg Jelyadev with the important tackle and hold, and then had the support of other defensive numbers.
Crouch. Bind. Set.
Jelyadev taken in a good tackle in front of his post, and that's been knocked down. Lost forward though by Scotland. Nyathavu is on there.
Yeah, the Royal smile. Almost, but it did go forward. And the tie slipping away from Scotland now. The clock's against them.
22 points to 5. Remember, Australia haven't made the semi-finals in Dubai since 2002. Is the drought about to be broken? Well, there's a chance down, and maybe Scotland can hit back and maybe pull off a miracle. There's a 7-pointer gifted to them. So now all of a sudden 10 points the difference.
So Scott White, on Lewis Holland. He was on sharp. It ricocheted well for them. Now the key for Scotland, if they are to score another try, is they must get possession from this restart.
Well, it's there for Australia. And Clark has got to switch and give it to Jelyadev. And across it goes now to Holland. Pops it out the back door. Clark. Nowhere to go. He'll go to ground. Scotland really applying the pressure now, up in the ante. And no, there is a penalty for Scotland. And so now, all of a sudden, Nyathavu! They've got some numbers out wide. They just need to spread. And Scotland, they're back in it. Niall Godsmark. Whoa! Seemingly home and hosed, and here's the conversion attempt. It's not there, so it's 22 points to 17, and it is game on.
Well, maybe I was being pessimistic from a Scottish perspective. I did talk about the kickoff, that's so important. Well, this one is even more important. If Scotland can score from this, well, they came back from 14-0 down, but this would be the comeback of the day.
There's a mistake. I think it came off the Scottish player.
Well, you felt the reaction from the crowd because Colin Shaw spilt the ball. Yeah, it was a knock-on, says Federico Anselmi. So Australia, all they have to do through James Stannard, feed the scrum, win the ball, get the ball off the field of play.
Well, look for a huge effort here from Scotland at the scrum. Siren sounds. Stannard. Stannard puts it in, takes it out, and there it is. Holland kicks it into touch, and the long drought has been broken at Dubai by the Australian Sevens. They're into the semi-finals in the Cup competition for the first time since 2002. Wow, terrific comeback from Scotland, but they ran out of time. 22 points to 17. Australia will now play Fiji in the Cup semi-finals, and Scotland go back to the plate to play Wales in their plate semi-final.
Well, Greg, Scotland are always noted as a passing team, but on this occasion you can see from the past stat that Australia commanded that possession throughout this tie. was an excellent opportunity for Scotland to get back into the game. The tackles miscount cost them dearly at the end. But a cracking game of sevens. Australia lead by, they won the game 22-17, and the influence obviously from Holland and Clark there in terms of tackling.
Palmafo, those carries. There was a handful out on the flank. So the action is continuing at Dubai 2014. 2 of the Cup quarterfinals done and dusted. The other 2 to come, and some great Rugby Sevens action coming your way wherever you're watching around the world. It is great to have your company. Fiji and Australia through to the last 4, and we'll have another 2 through to the last 4 before too long. So stay with us for all the hot action in Dubai.
So action it really has been, Greg Clark, certainly, and South Africa next up against Argentina in the Cup quarterfinal, the 3rd of the 4 Cup quarterfinals, and the victors here will certainly have an opportunity of being up against New Zealand or England, who'll play the last one. South Africa leading Argentina over the years, and this is the combination. Neil Powell deciding to go with what has been his foremost combination in this particular tournament. And Argentina, the youngest team, they've got 5 under-20 players in their starting lineup today, which is very special, I guess, and certainly after a grueling first day, Carlton Anna, nice to have some youngsters who've got a little bit of fresh legs.
Well, it makes them all impressive that they did make the Cup quarterfinals, but a big one in front of them. I was very impressed with the way South Africa went about their business. Their play was fast, it was quick, and I really like their balance in their teams. Argentinian side, well, they're a bunch of scrappers. That's what I love about them. They won't go away. They'll nip at your heels, and they'll challenge you at the breakdown. So I'm really looking forward to the physical part of the game they'll bring in this one.
Frankie Horn leads out South Africa in the absence of Kyle Brown, who's being eased back into sevens rugby after all the injuries he's had, and he no doubt will come on at some stage, but still a very fast team, South Africa, and at the back there, Sinatra. So that's how they've done so far. It's been successful, but maybe not as comfortable as what they would have liked. Against Wales, they had a very close game. They haven't really fired on all cylinders as of yet. But Argentina, well, they've done well. It was the 1 loss against Fiji yesterday, but 2 excellent victories over Brazil and France. So in what some people might consider the relatively unfamiliar color of red will belong to Las Pumas. And our referee for today's encounter, one of the 4 core referees for all 9 events this year, is Richard Kelly from New Zealand. Cecil Africa, as usual, he's been quite exemplary in terms of kickoffs this particular tournament, and that's another pretty good one, just continuing or going over the 10-meter mark. Argentina will be hard-pressed, and one of the important things for them is at the breakdown points that they stem the tide of the South Africans, because if South Africa are able to play the ball wide, they've got the pace of Sinatla, Africa, De Prier, Koch. It's a very speedy team. Picked out there by Royes. He's been their best defender, and in fact best attacker too. That ball not going for well. In fact, Richard Kelly has brought them back.
That was in line with us. That was a good call, just drifted a little bit forward, but I like the breakdown work from the Las Pumas team. The scrappiness, the numbers that are there.
First tournament for that man, Patricia Fernandez, just 20 years of age, and he'll be going to Clermont in France. And they say he's the next Jean-Martin Hernandez. And that's certainly great praise for a man who's served Argentine rugby so well. Branco de Prier, the man they call Bibo, with the put-in. 6 successful kicks at goal yesterday. Here comes Werner Koch, perhaps the most industrious South African in this tournament. De Prier. And for other Africa, Philip Snyman over the top. Now here's the chance for Sinatla. Well, he's got the jet shoes. He won't get close. 10-6 for the 100. And certainly those 20 meters he covered there He did so in fine style.
Well, that move was finished on the right-hand side, but it started on the left with Werner Koch making a strong run down the left-hand flank. Then they got the ball to this guy who can fly. Look at him here, just cruising.
Born in Welkom in South Africa, which means welcome. So welcome to Dubai. Sibala Sanatla was starved of possession yesterday. Just the one try that got him up to 50. He's got a terrific scoring rate, pro rata to the tournaments he's played in.
He's got one job, and that's score a lot of tries. And this guy, well, he's going to be integral to South Africa's chances on day 2.
Branko de Preer manages to get it over. Well, scoring tries is what it's all about, and Carlton Honor alongside me is a man who's certainly done that. Over 100 tries in his career for New Zealand. Saw the little smile on his face whenever a try is scored. That's what he knew about. Again, it's a pinpoint kick in from Africa, putting pressure on Argentina. Like to get their hands on the ball. Fernando Luna, it was. There, he scored 3 tries yesterday. I'll tell you what, do they want to use the width? Well, maybe they don't. Here's another chance here for Sinatla. No, they're going to come back. Richard Kelly picked up the knock-on.
There was a double clutch on that long left-to-right pass from the Argentinian player, and it just bought time for the South African defence to come up and do 2 errors already for Argentina. They just can't afford to do that against a class outfit like South Africa.
Yeah, it's been a bit hot and cold for South Africa as well, Carl. Yesterday, they scored 4 tries per match. They scored an average of 24 points, but there were 12 errors, and they ranked with the worst yesterday in terms of making mistakes. De Preer. He's so nuggety from the breakdown point. Manages to make some valuable meterage. Well, Argentina have an opportunity here to get out of their 22.
It's so abrasive at the breakdown area. It really is a strength of the Argentinian game. Always has been. Physical nature. And I'm with you, Gavin. I'm surprised that Argentina are trying to go wide on South Africa. I thought they'd play down the short channels, play the game slow like this, go to the set piece and try and keep it close like that.
That's what I would have done if I was them, definitely. Well, Neil Powell will be pleased with the efforts of Philip Snyman yesterday too. He's the best defender for South Africa, and of course they've got Frankie Horn in his 61st consecutive tournament. That's an unbelievable record, isn't it?
Yeah, Philip Snyman, for mine, he's a guy that you need in your team. He's going to do all the dirty work, the tough stuff. He does get the high praise because he's got his head down doing all that stuff that us flashy backs don't like doing.
Of course, he's a winger in 15, so he knows about running too, but he's certainly done the hard yards. A catch there from German Schulz from Cordoba, whose mother's his biggest fan, so she'll be watching. Here comes Werner Koch over to Sinatla, just the little shimmy inside, and the flyer from Welkom is on fire.
Well, there's no replacement for it, and that's speed. There's nothing. Another thing there's no replacement for, and that's class. And Cecil Africa gives a classy pass just before that, and Sinatla, well, just stops, props off the left foot, gets into, well, 1.5 gears, and goes right under the post, and he is the difference maker, this kid.
Well, his father was a sprinter too, so it's certainly in the genes. And Branko de Preer, who gets the conversion too, but just have a look at that, the embrace. That's great unified effort there from South Africa. They know that it's about team efforts, and they also know that if they get through this game as victors, they'll be up against New Zealand or England. Cecil Africa, 902 points for South Africa, chasing Fabian Juries' record of 925. Interesting with Sinatla getting those 2 tries, Carl. Yesterday he hardly saw the ball. I think a lot of the teams played well against South Africa too. They kept the ball away from the speedsters. Today Argentina are not doing that. So it pops out to Kwagga Smith. He's another man who's very industrious, and he's a lovely try scorer too.
Stung at the breakdown again. Argentina taking it in. It was a turnover. South Africa on this occasion doing some great work in the contact area. And spat out the back of the ruck. We see it here. Look at him. Was that Snyman doing some great work also? Branko de Preer, the small man, making an effective turnover. geez, they've just worked so well, these 3 forwards for South Africa.
It also takes a lot of pressure, one feels, too, off a player like Frankie Horn, you know, who's obviously on the wrong side of 30. But have a look at Quagga Smith's analysis.
Tackles made, workload, there's no replacement for it. Can score a try as well. They all just know their roles, and that's the thing. That's why they operate so well as a threesome, these 2 guys with Snowman, Horn and Quagga Smith.
Well, Horn can rest on his laurels a little bit. They call him Dickus, and Dickus in South African language, complimentarily wise, means a large man.
Well, I'm never going to say that to Frankie Horn.
Half time it is then, and a clinical first half for South Africa. 3 goals and those brace of tries from Sinatla. Frankie Horn in picture will be very happy with those efforts, because as we said a little bit earlier, Carl, too, in the Samoan match, that it's about how you play and how you step up the gears on the second day. It's not how you start, and maybe a little bit more rhythm for South Africa in this match.
I think too, day 1, you don't want to give away all your cards. Day 2 is where you bring them all out, and that's where you can see the difference in the body language of South Africans as we go into their huddle.
In good position too.
Oh my boy. Clear. Al dan so ver, great druk in die fence. Maar die raps gee hulle niks, die boys. Ons het daai hand van ons op hulle keel. Ons bly nou daai hand squeeze. Ons kan nie die hand nou afhaal nie. Alright boys. Die belangrikste deel van hierdie toernooi is nou die volgende afskop. Boys, ons moet ons bal kry en ons moet hom nou hou. Alles fokus, alles energie in die volgende afskop.
O cortito, dejarla al centro, o largo si estamos adentro para ir a dejar territorio. Primera premisa de este segundo tiempo, jugarle territorio. Segundo, error cero, muchachos. Sabemos perfecto lo que tenemos que hacer, así que territorio y error cero. Vamos, muchachos.
Vale, vení. Rápido. Hulle gee nooit op nie.
Julle gee alles, nee, julle gee alles.
Ligte aan, bly ligte aan.
Die het gesê ons sop vir die vriende, ons val ek in Kwagga. Hy sê bang ons amper opsaai daar, so kyk bietjie skerp. Half 'n
meter back, ons kom net so bietjie terug, boys. Hou die dissipline. Ons kan nie penalties afgee of hulle die bal gee. Hulle het nog nie die bal gehad nie. As hulle die bal gehad het, was dit heeltyd in hulle gesigte gewees. Alright, hou die dissipline, nie penalties nie. Ons kan nie vir die bal gee nie. Ons laat hulle heeltyd defend. Alright boys. Ons sien as hulle met defend dan hulle niks op ons nie. Okay boys. Volgende 7 minute, die volgende afskop is al op nou voor. Kyk nou. 7 minutes boys vir mekaar. Fokus. Yes. Ons kyk op bal van die tight to spread.
So Argentina ready for it, and the words of Neil Powell there, Carl, he was saying, you know, when you've got someone by the throat, you've got to hold on to it. But he feels that this kickoff here is the most vital part of this match. South Africa to retain it. He wants them to make sure that Argentina don't get ball. Starve them of ball. They haven't had any in the first half, and the victory would be ours. So Argentina then, Javier Rojas with the kick in to Sinatla. So South Africa, mission accomplished with a kickoff as per the request from the captain. Coming in field is Frankie Horn. Always takes 2 or 3 to bring him down. So a penalty is someone's lost their boot. In fact, it's Frankie Horn. He'll have to put it down for a while because he might have to defend right now as Argentina look to try and get on the scoreboard. Quickly through the hands, and Patricia Fernandez, it was going in, looking for an opportunity along with German Schulz. He has an opportunity surely for a try for Argentina. Can they get it down? That's brave defensive work from South Africa. They took the ball away too. And well, Richard Kelly saying we've got to give it to them, and there they've just gone and butchered it, have Argentina.
Oh, it would have been the perfect start for them, no doubt about that, and they have another error, and there was no one in front of him. He was probably thinking about his dive. The only bloke who got close to him would have been the post. Desperate defence though from the South Africans though, you've got to admire that. I thought the Argentinians were over for all money.
Well, that's what you look for, don't you, as you move into the knockout stages, just that extra little bit of vuma. And I guess, Carl, you've been in that situation many times, of course, with New Zealand when you were playing, where you guys were progressing well and just having to up your game.
Well, no doubt. Offense might win you a game, but defense wins you championships, and that's what's a hallmark for me. And South Africa, well, on that occasion, just showed me that they were in for it mentally.
Set.
Well, they want a strong scrummage here. Certainly got the ammunition to do that. So de Prieur has got a penalty and an opportunity for some relief. Africa now just consulting with his troops and his captain. He's going to hoof it out and get out of the 22.
See here, Africa too, very smart players. Good to have a guy of his experience running the ship for South Africa. He took his time there. His team has been under huge duress, having to make a number of tackles in the second half. 2 minutes they've been defending, which is a long time in the game of sevens. So he's just slowing the play down, letting them refresh, and they'll reset from here off their set piece.
Tukelet and Sabato on for Argentina. Just trying to find the right combination to get over the South African line. 3 goals away, so 3 scores minimum for Argentina, and they've got 5 minutes to do it in. Still not seeing as much ball as they would want. De Prieur with a throw. And that's one of the worst from him. Fernandez, out it goes. Opportunity here for Argentina, but it's taken away now, and there's the little grabber kick through from Africa. He immediately puts up his hand because he felt that it wasn't a good one, but there's nothing wrong with this now. Snyman coming back for it is Philip Snyman. Oh dear. Well, if there's an opportunity, even Branko de Prier's got the legs that's needed, but he says, settle Africa, why don't you take it over the line and give us try number 4?
Well, you can take this back all the way to the defensive work from the South Africans, with only metres from their own try line. They got the turnover, they got the penalty, they moved it down to their line out. The direct result is this. Here's the turnover, some good defence here, picked out of the air from South Africa. He knew they had Sinatla on the outside. And back end of it, those 2 guys again, the playmakers, so integral. 10-7, 7-10, equals 7 points.
And of course South Africa are one of the bigger kicking sides, and I'll say that in a positive way. And that's why, Carl, the question would always be as well, how deep is your sweeper if you know you're playing against a kicking team?
Well, if you've got guys that can fly, you've got to be shorter, and I think that's why South Africa realised how deep, or too deep, the Argentinian sweeper was. The faster the team you play against, you have to be shorter, closer to the line.
So South Africa 18 points away from Fabian Juries' record. He's been a great servant of South African Sevens rugby, has South Africa. He's had his share of injuries, but he has always been a vital part. It's another great kick in. Captain Carl Brown on as a replacement to have a quick run. So the quick take there, Gaston Rivol. He's also onto the park, but Argentina unable to get out of their 22.
Geez, that is a huge kick-off from South Africa. He gives his chasers every opportunity to recycle that ball. Kyle Brown went up and contested it and actually come off an Argentinian play. That's why we're coming back. It's such a luxury to be able to have a guy like that can put it up so high. And Rhino Benjamin introduces himself. So now I think South Africa, you can duly say, have won this quarter-final. So it's about team management and saving yourself and looking forward to the semi-final.
Well, Benjamin with lots of renewed energy. Of course, he's in the past had some issues with discipline. Remember that headbutt on Sterling Mortlock some years ago, but he's brushed up his game. There's the little chip kick. Now the chase from Sinatla doesn't get the bounce, but it's Argentina very much on the back foot and South Africa with a penalty.
We talk about kicking in the game of sevens. Well, that's a positive kick for mine. They had 2 guys that were set move, Rhino Benjamin, Sinatla, unadulterated pace, so they're coming forward, and regardless, there's only 1 defender for Argentina in behind that front line, so they're going to be going forward. It's going to be a 2-on-1 situation at the next breakdown.
Yeah, those kicks very often, of course, are kick passes. So you've got the chaser really going full tilt. There's another one, and this time, unfortunately, South Africa running into a player. He too has got the legs to chase those balls.
We saw that option yesterday from this team. Branko de Prieur was the one that put it through for South Africa, and they got the points on that occasion. Didn't quite work out, but you just have to be open to those different options, and I think that's what they're doing here, South Africa. They're keeping Argentina off balance.
And South Africa also bringing the replacements with Ruan Nel now on for Philip Snyman. So Neil Powell cleverly using his bench.
Well, it's important too, Gavin, because you're giving the bench a taste of finals football. They just want to get into the tournament. They want to get into the game on day 2, you know, and just feel the crowd, feel what it's like, feel the pace, because it's a different level.
Well, those stats are telling you that Argentina have made 5 errors and missed 2 tackles, which they won't be happy about. But again, it's so difficult when you haven't got possession, and certainly not front foot possession. They've been very much on the back foot. This is a South African team, the Blitzbokke on song. So Argentina, they've kept that ball in field, but now it's Carl Brown juggling. Colby with a little flick through. Another chance. Here's Warwick Gallant, the newcomer to the tournament, and well, it's a wonderful try for him. Just look at the players that are around him. Congratulations, and may you have a long, long career.
We can see what it means to these guys. The young man, they know it means a lot to him getting on the field and making an immediate impact. Warwick Gallant, but there's a lot of nice work done in the lead up to this. A couple of passes, players in behind the ball. Get out of here, son! That's what he says to him.
Yeah, the bus was definitely full on that occasion. Warwick Gallant over. And Cheslin Colby it'll be with the conversion to get the extra 2 points. So there's just a few seconds left. Colby himself has not really had a running opportunity in this game to get down the touchline as quick as that Golf GTI he drives. Background. The siren is gone, and 33-0 it is. And this could be the finishing touches. Yeah, Colby it'll be with the kickoff. And he's pretty much emulating South Africa. That's a beautiful kick in. It's gone forward from Argentina, but they were impaired. The catcher was impaired in the air. So can they do something about this? Gaston Rivaux had no opportunity to get through, but here they come. And South Africa, well, they take a lot of pride in defending their line, so they'll be all over the Argentines like a rash. But Gaston Rivaux looks to bring him into play. Taken up by Morello. Well, that's great competition that from Kwagga Smith. The tackler release was the call from Richard Kelly. Can they find a way through and finish this? Well, if you give the ball to this man, you're not going to get it. Goodbye and good luck. Here he goes. Seabala Senatla, 3 tries in this match, a hat-trick for the speedster.
What a great read in defence by Senatla. What an emphatic finish to this game for the Blitzbokke. Goal came down to defence, are up in one line. They force this long pass, and well, Senatla comes from the outside in. It just breezes through. Oh, smooth as you please. This is how we finish. 10.10 says the East German judge even. Look at that, beautiful. Dreadlocks flying.
Cheslin Colby makes 100% that they get up to the 40-point mark without reply, and I think that's what South Africa will be really pleased with, is the maintenance of possession and their ability to finish off and really score many tries. 3, 4, 5, 6 tries in this match, 40 points to 0. So South Africa will be watching this next match with a lot of interest, because they'll be playing against that team in the Cup semis.
And here are the final quarterfinals here in Dubai. Curry, Mickelson, Forbes, Kaka, Webber, Baker and Curtis up against Williams, Burgess, Brake, Norton, Mitchell, Lewis, Pratt and Gray, with former New Zealand Sevens captain Carl Tanana. And Carl, a big mountain for England, only 9 players. Almost be like trying to conquer Burj Khalifa.
Well, the stuff of legends are made of. If England can pull off a win here, well, what will that do for their confidence? They'll have to pull something out. It's all about heart at this period of the tournament. They're up against, everyone's picking New Zealand, but I wouldn't count out this England team. They have got some players that can threaten. It's going to be a tall ass year for sure. That's where you make yourself, and that's where you earn your stripes.
Well, New Zealand has lost the last 3 or 4 encounters. They lost in London, they lost on the Gold Coast, and they lost in Tokyo to England. And so that must be in the back of their minds. But then you have a look at the New Zealand record yesterday, 120 points scored. And the most pleasing thing about that, They did not concede one try.
Well, that's the thing Gordon Titchens will be speaking about, and I can give you the drum. This New Zealand team has been thinking about this matchup for a very long time. We saw it in the Gold Coast only a couple of months before. New Zealand were embarrassed with that effort, so I'm expecting a very, 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 very tough and physical New Zealand team in this first one. They're going to play high tempo, no doubt, Willie.
Marius van der Westhuizen is your referee from South Africa. Remember, England don't have Charlie Hayter, James Rodwell and Dan Bibby. All out injured. We're underway here in the fourth quarterfinal of the Dubai series of the HSBC Series of Sevens rather, and Gray takes it into contact nice and early, but they've lost it. And here goes Curry stepping and now getting the fend out, 7 short. New Zealand first possession and an opportunity to attack. Baker quickly clears it. Kaka, big long pass out wide. Here comes the first try for Curtis. Ambrose Curtis is in.
Two good New Zealand at the breakdown. Curry, DJ Forbes, the two forwards for New Zealand making a muck on the left-hand side of the field, and they get it out quickly to the flyer, Ambrose Curtis. Here it is here, Mickelson through the hands, but a nice pass from Gillies Kaka. Double pumps to Sherwin Stowers, gives the left to right, 20 metre on the fly on the chest to the flying number 12, Ambrose Curtis.
Made his debut on the Gold Coast, a 22-year-old big strong winger in the 15-a-side game from Wellington. Disappointing provincial season this year. He's had a couple of injuries as well, and you've been a former finisher as well, Carl. You'll be delighted with the way that he has started this tournament.
Yeah, confidence, that's the thing that's exuding from him at the moment. What I really like about him, he makes his decisions early, he backs his pace, and as a winger that's what you want, and it spreads the field and opens up holes in the middle.
Just missed the conversion there from Gillies Kaka. That pass that Kaka threw was the money ball. Could see that the space was there. It got on the outside of the last English defender. And Gordon Titchens looking on. He's your father, Carl, many people say. What's going through his mind at the moment?
Well, he'd be pretty happy with the start, but he's never content. That's the thing with Gordon Titchens. He would have been planning this for a long time, this tournament, making a comeback, and I'm sure he won't let these boys relax, no doubt about that.
31-7 on the Gold Coast. England dispatched of New Zealand. And here's the first penalty, and so England wanting to try and get back into this game. Can they score next? That's the big question many people will be asking, and trying to get on the outside of Curtis. There's Williams brought down in the tackle, managed to stay in field, which is the key here. Lewis Pratt now clears it out to Mitchell. Mitchell in turn finds Burgess. Burgess is big and strong, goes straight through the middle. Centre field ruck.
Turnover good.
Starting to flood that area around New Zealand, and the turnover here goes Mickelson, but he's lost it forward. And so the turnover here, Lewis Pratt has it. Lewis Pratt, he's through. England had to score next, and they have.
Well, they put all their eggs in one basket to New Zealand. They created the turnover. I think it was Kurt Baker who got it, and then it just fell out of the hands at ruck time. Great defence here from England. We'll see it here at the back of New Zealand ruck. They take it to the right-hand side. Good defence, number 12, Alex Gray, well done. And then Lewis Pratt, well, the little Campese, we'll call it, the goose step. Goes around the defence of Joe Webber, through the arms of Kurt Baker. And that's the reply England needed.
Tim Mickelson, who's just so good in that area of picking up and stealing a few metres, he lost it. This for the lead. And England do have the lead. What a match. Down to 9 players, showing some real character, but we're used to that.
It's a happy hunting ground here too for the English team. Don't underestimate that. When you go to a place that you have had a lot of success, a lot of support, it does get you up.
England yesterday, victories against the USA and Kenya, but then lost their final match against Australia by 12 points to 5. And let's remember too, that's the first try that New Zealand have conceded. Christian Lewis Pratt, if you get asked that in a quiz in the next few months. 125 points New Zealand have scored in this tournament, 21 tries rather. Considering that first one that they had scored to Ambrose Curtis. And now patient build up here. Baker gets it out to Webber. He's got a lovely step as Webber on the inside. This is where he's so good. Baker is the backup man. Curtis on the outside. The pass is there. He had to sort of pull back a little bit, and now he's going to try and get out on the outside of Norton. Good work from Norton. And coming across and effectively taking the ball out is Mitchell.
New Zealand's just trying to play the game at a fast tempo. Dan Norton, probably not the best defender going around. Going forward, he's outstanding. But New Zealand like to run at him and make them tackle him. Curtis got on the outside of him, but just got tripped up at the last
6 tackles made here in Dubai by Dan Norton. 173 tries as we look at Ambrose Curtis. And the stats that he has, set piece has been good for New Zealand here in Dubai. Curry will go high. And he's tapped it, it's gone to the side of but the English. So New Zealand has not really taken the opportunities that they have created. Digging. And there he goes, going straight in on the ground. Mickelson will tap and go quickly. Here's Mickelson. Into the 22. Goes a couple of extra metres and now gets it back for his captain. Baker gets it out to Curry. He has Webber on the left-hand side. Webber with the late cut. Here comes try number 2 to Curtis. Easy as you like, New Zealand.
They come down to the captain, DJ Fawkes, doing some superb work at the breakdown area. Calls a turnover. There were 3 England players on the ground, so Tim Mickelson took it quickly, realising that the defensive line was short for England. With the defence going back, they always had the numbers on the outside, and that's what's so impressive also with Scott Curry. He's a ball player for a big man. He's not only a grunt working, well, this guy's already scored 1 with his gas. Gets a 2nd in this one.
6th try here in Dubai. And here's the distance for Gillies Kaka. Strikes it beautifully. Just can't bring it around. Carl, you were mentioning that you spent a bit of time in New Zealand as well, talking to Gordon Titchens about this build-up to the next 2 weeks and their worst possible start on the Gold Coast. So he's been telling them about what, this moment or this particular team that they have to play?
Well, not just about this whole tournament. The Dubai, he knows that it's a special place to play, but just need to get off to a fast start, get some points on the board, and they just weren't happy with their own performance. That's probably the thing that's been drumming into them.
High restart into the very warm conditions here in Dubai. England have got a lot of heart, and they showed that after New Zealand had scored. And that's what you've got to do in this game, is once you've conceded points, you've got to get back and try and score them as well. Mickelson and Forbes have infringed, and so the South African referee gives England the final say of the first half.
You can already see the attitude of the New Zealand team at the breakdown area. Physically, they were out-muscled in their last matchup. So they're setting the tone early, the New Zealanders.
Mitchell finds touch, and that's beautiful. That's a net gain of at least 60 metres from Christian Lewis-Pratt. And there are the injured players. Rodwell, you can see them. Ada next, and they'll be looking on, wishing that they could be out there helping their countrymen. The all-important throw from the penalty. They've got to try and get the ball surely into the hands of someone like Alex Gray or Norton. That's where the real threat is, but they've also got to win the line-out, and they haven't done it. And so 1 apiece. New Zealand making the same mistake in the other 22. Webber's going to try and get on the outside. Here goes Webber. He's broken the line, and he's got to sprint away and score. New Zealand have an act of scoring right on the break, and Webber makes it 3.
Well, both teams have been sloppy at line-out time. On this occasion, England had to throw. It went over the top. And this kid, Joe Webber, in jersey number 10, is a difference maker, no doubt about that. He just goes on the outside. I think he just startled the defence because they're used to him stepping and using his footwork, but you can see there, Willie, straight away, as soon as he got that ball, he made the decision to go on the outside of Lewis-Pratt. It looked like he was operating not at 100, and he smokes him on the outside.
Well, a lovely moment for the Webber family back in New Zealand. His sister Jordan was part of the New Zealand women's team that won the title here yesterday. And there is her older brother Joe. And around the outside, has he been able to convert? Yes, he has. So from out wide, he's made the adjustments. The conversion to Kaka, 3 tries to New Zealand. And at the break, they lead England by 17 points to 7.
I don't think you need to keep the touch on that one. Going forward, I think it was a cracking touch. I think you've got to line up on those sidelines and send a bit of penalty going forward.
Especially about our main working line-up.
Right, defensively, we've just got to stay a little bit square and connected and straighter for longer. They're just waiting for that over-chase to turn and stepping through the middle. Brilliant cover to pick up those offloads. We just forced them to the outside. See, the defence on the outside there has been outstanding. We know we're going to be able to tackle this stuff. You're clear on that one, defence. Just stay there on our toes.
The push them, we're going to go in. Be sure.
play smart now, eh? Seriously, use the wind, all of it.
We've got the way. One more try. I want you to go again. You more width. You hold line. Give them more space to go. Give it to them earlier. KB, give it to them earlier. Yep, and we'll tell you to go earlier. They'll be worried now, so you can let it go. It's they get weak defensively in there. Okay, let's get it. Come on. DQ off twice. Make sure we've got the Sunday. Support that. We don't let it bounce.
First thing.
He takes a kick off.
Yeah. Kick off first.
Hold that ball.
Talk us through what Gordon Titchens is saying, Val.
Work on three.
Give it early. The kick off, and also it was interesting to hear the lad say DJ Forbes, the captain, use the wind, so the kick will be an option in the second half. For Simon Amor, already speaking defensively, he wants him to square up, even though keep on his toes. For me, that's probably not the best thing when you've got a stepper like Joe Webber, because you've got two ways you can go. There's the bed from the mountain man. DJ Forbes, he has been staunch in that first half in the physical stakes. Tackles made, 6 outstanding ball carries, but he does so much work off the ball. That's probably the thing for me, his organisation, his voice, his clarity, is probably where he does stand out above everyone else.
622 points he has amassed in his career. 68 tournaments, 124 tries. And this has been a happy hunting ground for the English. Can they turn it around? They only trail by 10, which is not a lot in the game of sevens, but they need possession and they need the kick to be accurate, and it is. Lewis Pratt goes high and taps it back, so that done the first job right. Have England stepping and trying to buy some time. Mitchell, but he's caught in the tackle, and now New Zealand counter ruck. Mickelson has it. No problem, says the South African referee, but they've all piled down there, and well, that's an area that you call it, Carlin, I'll use your term, they flood that area.
Yeah, just seen a lot of numbers over there and try and overwhelm the opposition through the weight of numbers. Tim Mickelson here doing some great work there at the back of the scrum. They're just a lot more urgent in that part of the game, the New Zealanders.
Well, you're still on the list for the time being.
Just hanging on by a nail.
Set.
Kaka with the feed. 60 seconds gone in the second half, and they give it early. That's what Titchens wanted, was to give it to Curtis early. He said they'll be worried, and good defence from Norton. That's an area that he certainly has worked on over the years. Mickelson with that trademark angled run, asking his captain to come on in and collect the ball. Webber clears it. Mickelson out to Curry. Curry has Baker on the outside. Kurt Baker, one to beat Kurt Baker. Steps on the inside, uses the fend, tried to offload there to Curry and couldn't get it successfully, but New Zealand now using the width of the field. Webber, he'll step and go. Joe Webber's in for a second. This is classic sevens rugby from this New Zealand side.
You're right, Willie. They went to the right-hand side to Curtis. Everyone doing their core responsibilities. They're the cleaner, they're the halfback there quickly, then they spread it to the left-hand side of the field where Kurt Baker took out another couple of defenders. That opens up the holes in the middle for a kid like this. Dancing with the Stars, it should be on. Hell, get that in ya.
3 years at Hamilton Boys High School, where they won 2 World Sonics titles in Japan, the New Zealand Secondary Schools champions, former New Zealand under-20s, and a little bit of animation. I think we might even get a smile there from...
No, you won't. I can guarantee that.
Joe Webber with his second in the match. Yeah, well, his father played with Titch in the Bay of Plenty. It didn't mean he gets automatic selection, but what a player he has been since he's come back, and the fitness levels of this New Zealand side, the conditioning, also the mental toughness heading into this tournament has certainly been a gear ahead of where they were on the Gold Coast. Kaka using that wind that we're talking about. And he kicks it to his opposite, Tom Mitchell. He's the playmaker. That looked a little forward. The play on, says the referee, is Gray takes it into contact, and now New Zealand asking the question, was that player in front of the ball carrier? The referee from South Africa says yes, he was.
Because they're behind on the scoreboard now, England, they're having to push those 50-50 passes. They probably should have taken it to deck, set it up. They try to release it off the ground.
You've been involved in this. What's the move here? Carl, what are you trying to establish here?
Well, I'll try and get the ball on Joe Webber. He's the stepper. Give it back to Kaka and get the decoy runners going. Here we go.
Just as he called it, here comes Curry. Taking it into contact. Forbes is there to recycle and clean. He throws it out the back. But well read by Gray, Alex Gray. And now they release it. They need to get it into the hands of someone like Norton. This is Williams out wide. England now need to score next to keep this contest alive. They've got possession. They're still within their own half, and they've got a black wall in front of them, which Mitchell identifies and sends it back to the other side. Dancing is Lewis Pratt. They've got to use it, and they will. Gray. Strong tackle again from Curry. Mickelson's over the top. Now they get it out to Lewis Pratt again. Gets it out to Norton. He's got pace. Can he get on the outside of Webber? The answer is no.
That just typifies the attitude of this New Zealand team today. All tournament, actually. Working hard in defence. Covering each other's back. Using that sliding option. But they've just given no room for the playmakers for England to operate in. They're closing down their options, closing their time to make their decisions. They haven't given Dan Norton a sniff.
Errors made pretty even there. 3 to New Zealand, 2 to England. Tackles missed, 4 to New Zealand, while England have only missed 3, but they trail on the scoreboard by 22 points to 7. First line out for New Zealand wasn't accurate. Have they adjusted? Have they changed? Curry the go-to guy. Mickelson stands at the back. Forbes in the front. It is Curry who feeds it. Kaka to Baker. Kurt Baker loops. Webber holds and then brings it back to where the forwards were. Gillies Kaka. He's not afraid to step and go as well. Here's Mickelson. Good night, nurse. He's gone. You won't catch Mickelson if you give him a chance. Try number 5 for New Zealand.
That's the sealer for the All Black Sevens in this quarter-final tie. They'll move on. It was a good set-piece move. It was caught a fish, what we used to say in the old days. We would take it to the midfield, we'll bounce back the blind, try and get mismatches with a playmaker such as Gillies Kaka on a forward, and Tim Mickelson, when he's ever present, this kid, such a warrior with a support play. Look at the determination on the face. That sort of personifies what this team's about this weekend, Willie. 6
tries, top try scorer here, 153 to his career, 6 line breaks yesterday. And he opens his account on day 2 at a crucial time and secures this victory for New Zealand. Gillies Kaka, can he add the extras? He has, and he deserves a rest. Well, he earns a rest, rather. Mickelson and Forbes to the bench. Kaka with the conversion. It's now 29-7. We're into the last minute.
A host of changes here for New Zealand team, just getting the other players a run on the big time on number 1 field and get them set for the semi-final. Just give them a little bit of a taste.
Australia to take on Fiji in the first Cup semi-final. New Zealand will take on South Africa. Southern Hemisphere semi-finals here in Dubai, Leg 2 of the HSBC Sevens World Series, as Curry now has some space down this left-hand flank. Breaks the first tackle and the second, heading towards the midfield. It's now cleared again, quickly recycled. One of the new players onto the field is Vaka, who gets it wide. A long pass out to Sherwin Stowers. His first touch. He's no slouch either. Tries to break through the tackle and can't. Good defence from England, and they can go coast to coast. They've certainly got the ability. Only 9 players to choose from. There's another replacement, sees Dixon on the field for the New Zealanders. Into the hands of Blanchett. Steps, now powers away. Just a sweep and a beat. And he's lost it forward. Vaka will be the first person to get there for New Zealand. He's lost it backwards. And Stowers gets it wide. One of the new players in the team is Taramai. Penalty then. Hands in the ruck. And so the final word for New Zealand. Do you kick it out here and save energy, or do you go for another try?
No, you just kick the ball out. You've got the game won. No use expending any more energy. Take the win and off you go.
Spoken as a true New Zealand, the former New Zealand captain, and that's exactly what Gillies Kaka does. Kicks it to the terraces. New Zealand have beaten England here by 29 points to 7. And confirmation that they will be part of the semi-finals, something they didn't achieve a month ago on the Gold Coast. Just looking at some of the match stats there, the missed tackles pretty much even. Passes completed, New Zealand almost 2-1. And then it was just some missed tackles, and they were crucial missed tackles, which were costly for the English side. What can we read from there, Tal?
Well, it was all on defence here, leading tackles. Mickelson, Baker and Co did some great work. Offloads also from Baker. Ambrose Curtis was the one for me. 2 tries and those line breaks, brother. Really did have such a threat on the outside. It just opens up your attack.
So let's see what you can look forward to here with our coverage in Dubai. Firstly, the Shield semi-finals, and Canada will host Japan, and Brazil, of course, we're all heading there in 2016, taking on Kenya in their match. The Bowl semi-finals then sees France and the United States. France were very, very comprehensive this morning, as were the United States, who played their get-out-of-jail card, and Portugal will take on Samoa. And then it is the plate semi-final, Wales against Scotland, and Argentina against England. The most important part is the points are available here in the Cup semi-finals. Fiji against Australia, South Africa to take on New Zealand, reminding you that the valuable points that they get from this tournament means that the top 4 teams will qualify for the 2016 Rio de Janeiro. You can communicate with us through Twitter, but we're going to leave you now for an hour or so. Thanks for joining us, and hope you can come back and see more exciting sevens in the HSBC 7 Series here in Dubai.